You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR 680. And today, the Giants got back in the win column on the strength of a Matt Chapman first inning grand slam, and a strong Oracle Park debut for Mason Black. And just for fun, Heliot Ramos had multiple highlight reel plays both in left and right field. Do not ever send this guy back down to Sacramento. We will break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please, if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you're getting the show, we appreciate it. And make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job breaking down all the numbers you need to know. In the first inning, the Giants got it going right away. Lamont Wade Jr. singled, started off the rally, and seems like this guy is a key part of every single rally, though they've been few and far between, that the Giants have had this season. Whether it's a hit in the middle of it to keep the line moving, coming up with the big hit to drive runs in with runners in scoring position, or whether it's starting off the rally, Lamont Wade Jr. seems to be right in the mix every single time. Then next, you had Pat Bailey coming up, his first at bat back from the concussion list, batting third today. Great to see Patrick Bailey back out there. That's a very good sign. The fact that he was able to spend the minimum amount of time on the concussion list before coming back. He made great progress. We heard the updates from Dave Fleming while they were on the road. Love to see Patrick Bailey back behind the dish for the Giants. He came up with a single in his first at-bat back from the concussion list. And then Heliot Ramos walks to load the bases. A good job by the rookie, not trying to do too much in that situation. And Matt Chapman comes up and blasts a grand slam in the first inning. We said last night on the show that last at-bat that Chapman had, maybe it was a second to last, I don't remember if it was last or second to last, but he gave one a ride to left field, barreled it up, got really into it, but I don't know if he actually did hit the barrel of the bat on that ball per the StatCast barrel statistic, but he hit that ball 105 plus. It just didn't have the right launch angle to it. He hit it at like a 44 plus degree launch angle. That's just going to pop up. It doesn't matter how hard you hit that ball. So he just needed to flatten that swing out a little bit, just barely missed that ball. He did not miss this one. He got all of it. 105.7 off the bat. His first hit with the bases loaded all season long for Matt Chapman. Big yikes, but so good to see him finally come through and get the monkey off his back. Now all that he needs to do is repeat that, like 1 out of every 3-ish times that he's up in that situation. And that would be great for the rest of the season. If he can do that, then this first month of the season can be excused. And by the way, I do have to take a quick break here for a second and address something, because a lot of you guys have been saying that, I see the comments, you guys unhappy with me being a quote homer over these takes. It is a month and a half into the season. If you are ready to write off a baseball team a month and a half into the season, I hope you're also ready to write off your favorite basketball team in December, in November. I hope you're also willing to write off your favorite football team after the first 2 to 3 games of the season, because this is just ridiculous. Come on, guys. It's a 162 game season. Be realistic. You guys are ripping Farhan for free agent signings that are multiple years long. Do not judge the free agent based on his first month and a half of his contract. You guys remember Barry Zito? How we all said that was the worst free agent the Giants ever signed after they gave him all that money? And then what happened? 2012 happened. And now every Giants fan loves Barry Zito. So if you guys are willing to jump off the boat right now, don't jump back on when one of these guys comes through. Hold that same energy later on. I'm not being a homer. I'm being realistic. I know how long a baseball season is, and maybe some of you guys just don't. So I don't know what else to tell you. I'm not going to come out here and fire off hot takes about a team a month and a half into the baseball season. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Anyways, back to this Matt Chapman grand slam. Sorry for the deviation, but I just had to address that. As I said, 105.7 off the bat, 416 feet, his 5th bomb of the season. It was a 93-mile-an-hour fastball piped right down the middle, just absolute meat for Matt Chapman, jumped all over it. Giants take a 4-0 lead in the top of the first. How great is that, man? Top of the first, 4-0 lead. Mason Black in his second career start, he had or bottom of the first, excuse me. He had the Mason Black, his second career start. Last time out, he only lasted 4 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, 1 bomb. That you remember that home run that he gave up to Bryce Harper. He did have 3 walks and 4 strikeouts. That was against Philadelphia, though, in a game where he was kind of left hung out to dry. I don't think in that game, if you guys watched it, I said this on the postcast right after that, I don't think he should have pitched the 5th inning in that game, but the bullpen was unavailable as they had pitched a ton of innings prior to that Mason Black start. He still needed to be stretched out. In that start, he threw more pitches than he'd ever thrown. He threw 84 pitches in that game and never threw more than 71 in his 6 minor league starts this year. So they were asking a lot from him, and he kind of imploded at the end. Prior to that, the first 4 innings of that Philly start, the first 4 innings, he pitched really, really, really well. He didn't give up anywhere. I think he only gave up like 1 run. So yeah, 1 run through the first 4 innings before the Phillies piled on in that 5th inning. So Mason Black really just kind of replicated what he did in his prior start. More on that in a minute. In the top of the third, you saw Heliot Ramos make his first highlight reel defensive play of the game as he threw out Benson trying to stretch a single into a double. It was an impressive throw by Ramos, and he wasn't done because he did it again later on in the game. But first, top of the 4th inning, Elly De La Cruz solo shot to left center field, his 9th of the season. It was the Reds' 1 run of the game, 107.9 off the bat. And man, this guy is so fun to watch. I don't care that he's not a Giant. One of my favorite players in all of baseball to watch, the way he runs, hits. I mean, the defense could use some work. You saw him airmail a throw to first base, but it's still just interesting watching a guy that big play shortstop. I'm completely enamored with Elly De La Cruz. I mean, he hit that ball to one of the deeper parts of the yard, and it did kind of look like the ball was carrying out to left center today. The second home run, almost to the exact same spot that Chapman hit his. Reds shrink the Giants' lead to 4-1, but like I said, that was the only run that the Giants gave up. Mason Black after that hit Spencer Steer and started to get a little wobbly the second time through the order. You saw that in his last start too. And then Ramos bails him out, makes another great defensive play by cutting off a line drive down the left field or down the right field line by Fraley, rifles a throw into second base to get Fraley for the second out of the inning. And that was key because Steer was heading to third, and the Reds would have had, if Ramos didn't make that play, second and third with 1 out. Instead, you have third base, 1 runner on third with 2 outs, and the Giants get out of it without any more damage. Now, they come back in the bottom of the 4th, and there was some concern. Michael Conforto is someone that you cannot be missing right now in a team that is struggling this bad offensively. He's been one of the few bright spots for the Giants at the dish this season. Pulls a hammy rounding first base after a single to left field, or at least that's what he looked like. He was grabbing that hamstring. Giants really searching for some help in the outfield right now. I mean, Jung-Hoo Lee should be back. He shouldn't have to miss too much more time. He's missed a lot of time from fouling that ball off his foot in the Colorado series. We already got Ramos up here. If the Giants need another outfielder, they did make some roster moves, bring up Wade Meckler again, who can play some outfield. But if they need to make another move, as they brought Meckler up prior to this injury to Conforto. So if they need to replace Conforto with another corner outfielder, I know who the obvious choice is, and so do you guys. Luis Matos sitting there waiting. I know all of the Giants fan nation wants him back in a big league uniform. Maybe this is what we get with the Conforto injury, but still a very big concern. You cannot miss Michael Conforto for an extended period of time. We've been so happy with him staying healthy all season long, but as we've said, you cannot count on Michael Conforto to stay healthy for a full season. That's just not what this guy does. Just enjoy him while he's out there, and hopefully he gets better soon. So Yaz comes in to replace him, and it was weird. It was a weird injury. I didn't really see how he did it. He rounded first base kind of hard and put on the brakes. Maybe he did it then when he was trying to stop on a dime, but it didn't look like he had a misstep or was off balance. There was no funky stuff while he was running, nothing like that. So kind of weird. The Giants did have a runner in scoring position with 2 outs, and Fitzgerald grounded out in typical San Francisco Giants fashion. In the top of the 5th, Ramos switches because, the Conforto injury. Yastrzemski comes into play right. Ramos goes out to left and makes a diving catch in left field. So now he's got 2 outfield assists and a diving catch, showing off the speed and flash in the leather on that one. it was nice to see. Right after that, Mason Black was done after he got into trouble with 2 on and 1 out and 2 runners on as a result of walks. The Giants don't really have to leave him out there this time like they did in the Phillies game. This was very similar to the situation. I thought they should have pulled him out in that Phillies game, and then Bryce Harper came up and smacked one out of the park instead of them going to the bullpen. Today, the Giants go to the bullpen and the Reds load the bases, but Taylor Rogers gets out of the jam with no damage done. And after that, the bullpen really took over. Ryan Walker came in. He's been so good this season, but especially over his last now 11 outings. He's tossed 11 scoreless innings with 19 strikeouts over these 11 games since he last allowed 3 runs on the 16th of April against the Marlins. Coming into today, his 20 appearances were tied for the most in Major League Baseball, and 17 of them have been scoreless. Ryan Walker has just been so good all season long. And guess who made another great play while Walker was on the mound? I mean, stop me if you've heard this before in this postcast, but Heliot Ramos makes another great play, racing in and makes a shoestring catch, got a good jump despite the batter being in the shadows. I mean, this is impressive work to see a guy go from one corner of that outfield to the other and still be able to read the ball off the bat like that, get those jumps. I mean, Ramos, for every bit as good as he's looked at the plate, think about the 2 really hard hit balls that he had last night. He's up there raking, but he's also showing what he can do on the defensive side of the ball as well, making diving plays, showing off the speed, showing off the arm, showing off the glove. This guy is, I mean, he's a 5-tool player. I'm so enamored with this guy. I want to see him in the Giants lineup more often than not. Like, I know that they got kind of a crowded outfield, I guess, but with the injury to Conforto, this guy needs to get more and more playing time, even when Jung-Hoo Lee is back in the lineup. After that inning, Eric Miller came in the 7th, and the Giants used their pen a lot today, and they pitched more than half the game, and they shut everybody down on the Reds. I mean, this Giants bullpen has been pretty good, but today, 4 2/3 innings pitched, no runs, 4 hits. Eric Miller got a double play, 1 walk from the bullpen as a result, 1 hit by pitch as well, 5 strikeouts. So they only gave up 6 base runners with the hit by pitch over 4 innings and got 5 strikeouts. This is exactly what you want from your bullpen, and it's very impressive. The pen has had a lot of work. They pitched a ton of innings on that 10-game road trip, specifically 44 2/3 innings on that road trip. It was more than half of the total innings pitched on that road trip. So this bullpen is exhausted, man. And for them to come out and pitch the way they did was very, very impressive. Since April 26th, they have a 3.49 ERA. I mean, they had a 5.92 ERA in their first 26 games of the season. So they've improved a lot. We've talked about this a lot on this postcast. The Giants bullpen had a rocky start, but they've really settled in and they seem to have found their A team. And you saw it today, plus Taylor Rogers as well. Taylor Rogers, not a part of that group, but Eric Miller, you also didn't see Camilo Doval today, but Eric Miller, Tyler Rogers. I keep mixing. We saw both twins today. I think it's messing with my brain, but Tyler Rogers, Submariner on the A team, Eric Miller on the A team, Ryan Walker on the A team, Camilo Doval rounding that out. That group of 4, those are your top 4 Giants relievers, and they're going to keep rolling all season long. I think we saw Sean Jelly come in and close it out. Taylor Rogers also pitched a cruise through the 8th inning. Sean Jelly cruising there in the 9th as well. Jelly's been pitching very, very well also lately. And I mean, the whole Giants bullpen has been great. And really quick, before we go to break here, I just, we'll save it for the other side. We got to talk about this Fox broadcast, man. I got some things to say because the Eric Miller slander just was absolutely ridiculous, completely just uncalled for, and shows how little some of these national broadcasters know about local teams. I'll explain on the other side of the Locked On Giants postcast. Stick with us here as we roll along. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will be right back. You know that instant confidence boost you get from an outfit that makes you look really good? That's what I get with Stitch Fix. Easily upgrade your wardrobe this year with a professional stylist that helps you find new on-trend favorites that will work for you. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And they send 5 just for me pieces plus outfit recommendations and pro styling advice. I keep what works and send back the rest. My stylist always sends me just the right pieces, and the fit is on point. It's like they have style ESP. I don't know how they do it. They just get me. Stitch Fix makes it so easy. I don't like to shop, and they save me all that time and effort. Plus, I get outfits that make me look good and feel really good too. And if you don't love something, just send it back. Shipping, returns, and exchanges are always free at Stitch Fix. Style that makes you feel as good as you look. Get started today at stitchfix.com/MLB and get $20 off your first fix. That's stitchfix.com/MLB for $20 off. Stitchfix.com/MLB. Must redeem within 7 days of signing up. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. And man, I gotta address some comments in the chat. Giants are trash. Yeah, okay. I mean, if you want to judge a team based again on the first quarter of the season, you can go ahead and do that, my guy. But I'm not gonna do that. I think that's completely ridiculous. I think that shows that you don't really know how a full baseball season works. I mean, how many of the last World Series champions were not even in the playoffs by like the All-Star break by August? I mean, so many of these teams would have just not even been in the playoffs below 500. It is a marathon, not a sprint. We have a lot of season left to play. If you want to jump off the boat, go ahead. Don't try and climb back in when the Giants are making a push later on this season, because you know they will at some point. They're not going to play this bad all season long. I really don't think they will. Guys are going to correct them. You look at the data, players are going to not regress to the mean, because that means they were overperforming, but they're gonna get better. There's no way that every single one of these Giants players that they signed in free agency is this bad. Blake Snell is gonna come back, and I guarantee you he will be better than an 11-12 ERA. I can guarantee you that Jorge Soler is not gonna go the whole season batting 200. I mean, this team is going to get better. Matt Chapman isn't gonna just have only this one hit with the bases loaded all season long. The team is going to get better. The bullpen has shown you that they're getting better. You have a ton of arms coming back. You got Alex Cobb waiting. Blake Snell waiting. Carson Wisenhunt's going to be here soon. You have a lot of talent on this Giants team that is going to, this team is going to get better. You have a ton of guys on the injured list that are going to come back at some point. I don't know what to say, man. If you don't understand how a baseball season works, that is on you, not on me. So anyways, what I teased right before we went to break, and just before I got distracted by all these people who don't understand how baseball seasons work, is that this Fox broadcast, I mean, I don't expect national broadcasters to be as locked in as Kruk and Kipe. And plus, it's kind of a weird situation that you got here in San Francisco. I feel like a lot of other markets, you kind of get up for those national broadcast games. I hate the national broadcast when it's a Giants game, because that means I get no Kruk and Kipe, I get no John Miller, I get no Dave Fleming. I want those guys every single time. And today's game was a perfect example why. First of all, we had like a full inning long obsession with a Pelican, and this broadcast team didn't even know that it was a Pelican. I mean, I don't know how you get that. They were talking about it multiple innings later too, saying well, I don't know how I'm supposed to know what kind of bird that is. Man, there is only one bird that looks like that in San Francisco. It is a pelican. It's not that hard to figure out. So, I mean, but whatever, if you aren't a bird expert, then, you get a pass. You don't need to be a bird expert to call baseball games, but just kind of indicative that they don't really know San Francisco. But then they absolutely trash Eric Miller, saying that he's not a high leverage arm, while simultaneously calling Taylor Rogers a high leverage guy. Like, what? And that just made me immediately viscerally mad, because Eric Miller, let me tell you, his last 13 outings, 10 scoreless in his last 13 outings, while striking out 17 batters, a whip under 1, ERA 2.70 since April 10th. Yeah, he had a couple blow-up games in the beginning of this season in his major league debut. This guy is a rookie who had never pitched above Double-A before this season. And I had a couple rough outings to start his big league career. And since then, he's been absolutely locked in. Left-handed batters are 2 for 22 against him, batting less than 100. 0.091. And right-handed batters are 6 for 38. Not a lot better. 158. I mean, and he did give up that inside the park home run, but I'm not even blaming him for that. Someone should have been playing that carom a lot better. The Giants had not your everyday center fielder out there. There were issues on that play, as we discussed last night. I don't need the Eric Miller slander. And I mean, I'm not expecting these guys to know everything. You certainly can't if you're A national broadcaster flying in to do one game and then going somewhere else, I get it, but you have time to do this research. Those stats I just told you are in the media notes for the San Francisco Giants. I did not have to look very hard to find that information. So the fact that these guys don't know that coming into this game, concerning and frustrating and upsetting if you're a Giants fan. I mean, we have long since been frustrated with Fox national broadcast. I mean, shout out Joe Buck. I mean, I know most Giants fans feel some type of way about national broadcasts, specifically on Fox. They're not very kind to the San Francisco Giants, and I just don't get it. I don't understand why all these years, none of these broadcasters seem to know anything. I mean, it's, and I don't even want to say it's East Coast bias because you had a West Coast guy up in the booth tonight. So I don't even understand what was going on with that broadcast, why you are so like not up to speed on this team. It's concerning, man. I mean, it's frustrating as a fan. I want Krug and Kipe. We went a long road trip without him. We got one day yesterday with them back, and then right back to not Krug and Kipe, man. I need Krug and Kipe in my life. I need those two guys. The sweet, soothing sounds of Mike Krukow and Dwayne Kuiper just like calm my soul and my entire lifetime. These guys have been with the team pretty much, and like, just makes me feel better. Like, makes me feel a lot better when I have those guys on a game. Plus, I don't know how much longer we're going to get them for. I mean, Mike Krukow rolling around in like an electric wheelchair at the park now. Like, he is not going to be doing this forever. Neither is Kipe. We all know the health problems they both had in recent years. Treasure it while you can, because in the future, this might be what we get. I mean, I know we got Flem. I don't know if Flem's going to be the everyday broadcaster, though. He's got his national slate. I mean, there's John Miller still too, but John's not going to do this forever either. He's climbing up there in age too. So treasure it while you have it, because the alternative is not great, as we saw tonight. So more on this Giants win on the other side. And I know we're being pretty positive on the show today, something that a lot of you guys have been not happy about, but you got to start somewhere. You got to win. Like, a win streak starts somewhere. If this is the start of the Giants climbing back out of the hole, I would really hope for that. I mean, 18-23 on the year. It's not like I'm sitting here saying this is a great team. They're not. They have a long way to go, but they should be better than they are. I completely expect them to be better than they are. I don't think they're going to finish the season below 500. If you really can take a hard look at this team, compare it to teams in the past couple of years, minus that weird 107 win season that was completely a fluke, like, this roster is so much more talented. This team is so much better. This coaching staff is so much better. There's no way that this team finishes worse than those teams. No way that this team finishes worse than last year's team was. Absolutely no chance. So stick with us on the other side. We got some more to talk about, some Giants roster moves, and some more stats and stuff from today's game. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will be right back. Today's show is sponsored by Policygenius. Shopping for life insurance is something that can be overwhelming for many people, and that's why I'm here to tell you about Policygenius. Policygenius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace. It saves you time and money so you can provide your family with a financial safety net starting today. With Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. Policygenius helps you compare your options from top companies, and their team of licensed experts is on hand to help talk you through it. Talk to a team of award-winning agents who will walk you through the process step by step. This is important because many of you may not be as well covered as you think. Your work life insurance policy also may not offer enough protection for your family's needs. And even worse, it may not come with you if you leave your job. That's a problem. Policygenius gives you unbiased advice from a licensed expert support team. They have no incentive to recommend one insurer over the other, so you can trust their guidance. Check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/lockedonmlb or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/lockedonmlb. And today's show is also sponsored by DoorDash. Moms are a gift, so give her the best this Mother's Day. Get gifts as thoughtful as she is with DoorDash. Select from hundreds of expertly crafted bouquets to the best of tech to self-care essentials and more delivered right to mom's door. Pair flowers with a gift card so she can celebrate any way she wants. Is she a bookworm? Try a bookstore gift card. Does she love a good latte? Give a gift card to her favorite coffee shop, probably the most perfect coffee shop too. If mom's going there, you just can't go wrong. Get thoughtful gifts she deserves with the convenience you need. Choose same-day delivery or schedule a week ahead for when flowers and gifts should arrive to her door with DoorDash. Shop with savings that would make mom proud. With a Dash Pass membership, you'll save with a $0 delivery fee and reduced service fees on eligible orders from Dash Pass merchants to meet the minimum subtotal. Other fees, including service fees, apply. Terms apply as well. Get all your Mother's Day gifts all in one place and get 50% off your next order up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flour, convenience, grocery, or retail order right now with code LOCKEDONMLB. That's code LOCKEDONMLB. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Today, the Giants 5-1 win over the Reds. I mean, the Giants still down bad. They're 18-23, coming off a 3-7 road trip and dropping the first game back at Oracle Park. Hopefully, this can be a get-right game for the Giants. If they go out and win tomorrow, that's another series win. It's all you can ask from a team is to win. If you win every series, if you go 2-1 in every series, that's a great way to make the playoffs. So the Giants need to start winning some series at a better rate than they have been because they haven't won one in quite a while. Oh, that's a lie. They actually won one in Colorado, but they did sneak a series win in on that road trip. But after the prior couple losses, I mean, the sweep in Philly, the series loss in Boston, the Giants need a couple get-right series, especially ahead of the Dodgers coming into town. So Giants win today. If they can win tomorrow, get some momentum going, maybe score more than 5 runs again tomorrow. The Giants still undefeated when they score 5 or more runs. Now they are 11-0 on the season when they score 5 runs or more. That's a good sign, but runs are going to be tough against that Dodgers pitching staff. They're pretty damn good. Giants, another point of note, Giants 14-0 when they lead after the 7th inning, now 15-0 after this win today. And that's a sign of the bullpen pitching really well as they have been in recent weeks. Throughout really the last month, this bullpen has been pretty solid. I mean, we've seen how it's shaken out. The cream has risen to the top. We know who the best arms in that pen are, led by Camilo Doval and Ryan Walker. And it's been the Giants offense, as we all know, that has been a problem. I mean, over their last 15 games coming into today, they're averaging less than 3 runs a game. They'd scored 43 runs in those 15 games. Today, they score 5 more runs. That's great. Their 2.87 runs per game in that span was the second worst in the majors, only behind the Pirates, who are average 2.27 runs per game over that span. For what it's worth, the Reds just slightly better than the Giants over that span. 3 runs per game even is what they're averaging. So, I mean, these two offenses are similar, and it is a concern that this is a team that the Giants last night looked pretty evenly matched with. I mean, the Reds are not a good team in baseball. I mean, they're 17-22. Their record is very similar to the Giants. I would say this Reds team is underperforming as well. Their pitching staff is not as good as the Giants is, but they've been missing Friedel, who's been hurt for a lot of the season. Shout out if you have him on your fantasy baseball team. I know I do. I need that guy to come back. Maybe not play well against the Giants, but I know I need him on my team because my team is struggling big time, man. But I mean, injuries this year. I mean, I think everybody's struggling in fantasy baseball. If you're playing rotisserie, you are probably struggling with the number of injuries as everybody else is, especially pitcher injuries, man. It's been a tough year for fantasy baseball pitchers. Anyways, the Cincinnati Reds pitching staff, not as good as the Giants, but offensively, you would expect them to be a little better than 3 runs a game. Ellie De La Cruz in the middle of that lineup. So this Reds team underperforming a little bit. I do, before we get out of here, gotta mention Mason Black. I mean, this guy is pitching so well. That fastball, that slider showing really good life. Mixing in that changeup, still working on it. But Mason Black is a guy who I think can really help this Giants team going forward. I mean, you saw what he's good at today. I mean, he still needs to get stretched out. His durability, his endurance, I guess is the better word. His endurance on the mound is not where it needs to be as a starting pitcher in the bigs. 78 pitches for him today. I would like to see him be able to get up to 85, 90 pitches with regularity. I mean, that would be one more inning for him. And if he could have pitched that, come out and completed that fifth inning, he would have been in line for the win. Instead, he doesn't get the win in this one because he didn't pitch the 5 innings. The win goes to Taylor Rogers instead of Mason Black today. So the Giants pitching pretty well. I mean, they've been pitching pretty well all season long, but Logan Webb yesterday, Mason Black today, that's what you get when you get back to Oracle Park. And hopefully the runs come too. I mean, Matt Chapman, this one grand slam doesn't fix everything, but it's, again, a good sign to see him going in the right direction, improving. I mean, that's all you can ask for a guy, right? Like, you can't hit 10 home runs in one game and just get back on track like that. One game at a time. That's how you do it. 162. It's an endurance season. If you want to jump off the boat right now, go for it. Just don't try to climb back in later on in the season when the Giants start to turn things around. And I'm not saying this team's going to turn into the Dodgers. I'm not saying they're going to win the West. I am saying there's going to be a point in the season where the Giants start to win games and make you believe again. And I don't want to hear any of these same people that have been complaining, moaning. If you want to make judgment calls based on like a quarter of the season, go for it. Go for it. Be my guest. That's not how I do things. I'm not sitting up here as a hot take artist ready to just take a flamethrower to the whole team because they had a bad April. People are frustrated, man. I don't know what to tell you. That's all the time we got for you guys today on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll come to you live tomorrow as the Giants wrap up their series with the Reds before the Los Angeles Dodgers head to town. They need to gain some momentum before facing those Dodgers. Tomorrow's game starts at 1:05 out at Oracle Park. Should be another nice day out in San Francisco. It's been gorgeous lately, although you wouldn't know it by looking out my window here in the sunset. It is completely fogged in, man. That ballpark looks so nice and sunny today. I'm sitting here in the fog just wishing I was out there. Thanks for joining us on the Locked On Giants postcast. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.